All right, guys, we're going to start off with questions from last weekend and heading forward to Miami before we start with the national letter intent questions. So if you guys want to fire away with part one, go ahead.
It seems like as of late, Bowling Green's having a difficult time transitioning from Friday to Saturday, playing really well on Friday, but not being able to keep up that momentum into Saturday. What are some of the reasons you feel are behind that?
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had the reasons. I don't even necessarily know if it's Friday to Saturday. It's just two games back to back. The 12 games we've played, I think we were fairly consistent against Huntsville of okay or good, and we were fairly consistent against Alaska of really bad. Other than that, it's been the tale of two different nights. Saturday was good, Friday was bad. Now, the last two weekends have definitely been Friday good and Saturday not as good. But I do think there was a difference between Notre Dame Saturday and last Saturday. The shots weren't obviously a very good indication from my perspective of how that game was. I do think Northern got the better of us that night. But I thought there was some fight on our bench. And I thought with the exception of some bad penalties at poor times, we were right there. We were one shot away for a good portion of the second period and the good portion of the third, and just weren't able to get that shot. So I was more optimistic after Saturday night's game than I was after the Saturday night against Notre Dame. But finding that consistent level, and I've been asking around other coaches, other people that are in the business of looking for a consistency from kids, and all I come up with is just continue to push and practice. Make your practice habits great. Make your practice execution great. Make your practice intensity level great, and that's what we're trying to do. So we went back to work yesterday, had a good day. I thought we had a good day today. And, that's really all we can control. Hopefully this level of consistency is going to find its way here quickly, because I don't accept just giving away games on a weekend. I don't care who we're playing against. And that's something that the boys in that locker room, we got to figure out a way to make it their expectation as well.
Coach, Miami's coming in this week, 6th ranked team in the nation. Obviously, you've got ties to the program with where you came from. Just overall thoughts on what Miami brings to the table coming in this week?
They're probably similar to Michigan in that what Michigan brought to the table. They're a very veteran group. They're deep at all positions. I think Miami's stronger defensive core-wise and probably goaltending-wise than what we saw with Michigan in terms of more proven. Miami seniors are one overtime goal away from 3 Frozen Fours in a row. I mean, there's no more veteran group out there other than maybe Boston College in terms of what they've experienced. So they come at you at different levels. It's not just on the ice; it's their overall belief and their mentality and what they're doing on a daily basis and what they expect out of every game. They expect to win whether they have their A game or not, and that's something they've been able to. It shows like they've been able to do over time. From the on-ice stuff, it's they've got a good power play. They've got lots of talent there. Their top line and with it looks like Camper, Riley Smith, and Neely are basically carrying the load point-wise. But after that, there's a lot of guys contributing. They'll never, ever worry about scoring. I think they've got plenty of that. We are going to have to be really persistent with our offensive zone play because they're a good defensive zone team. We're going to have to get pucks to the point and get those pucks to the net and find a way to create traffic on both goaltenders. I know we'll see both unless there's an injury. Or I'm sure we'll see both unless there's an injury. So I think they create a lot of challenges everywhere. But we've seen it before. So does Notre Dame. So does Fairbanks. So does Michigan. So does Northern. So it's something that our focus was to get better today, and we'll start to talk about Miami specifically tomorrow. But publicly, they create challenges pretty much everywhere.
Having been there for so long, I guess from a personal standpoint, what's it going to be like for you emotionally going up against your old head coach Rico and guys that you've seen pretty much from juniors all the way up until last year? Their tendencies and all that.
Yeah, I think it'll be different when they get here Thursday night and I see some of those guys, and then obviously all day Friday, and being out there. I've never coached against Miami before in my I guess my 11 years of coaching. This will be the first time. So I don't know what to expect. I'm sure it'll be I'm going to try to enjoy it, but I know I won't if we don't play well. So that'll be something that we'll wait and see. I know I'll enjoy seeing everybody, Thursday night and Friday, and hopefully we're able to come up with two pretty good efforts on the weekend and give ourselves the best chance.
Talk about the Miami goaltenders. Will we continue to see both Falcon goaltenders Friday and Saturday?
As of right now, we will. Yeah, I think that Nick has righted the ship, so to speak, and played very well the last 2 weekends. And I thought Andrew. There's a couple pucks on Saturday night in Northern that I would like to have seen Andrew have. But all in all, I think his game's been pretty good. And unfortunately, Andrew in the past 2 weekends in particular has been behind a team that's not ready to compete at a high level and execute at that level, and giving up a bunch of shots. So, I'm hoping that we can continue with the 1-1 scenario, because like I've said all year long, I think it's the best chance for us to have success every weekend.
You consistently have been putting Eno in on Friday, Hammond on Saturday. Is there ever a situation where you may flip-flop that, switch it up a little, do Hammond on Friday and Eno on Saturday?
I think it's better. There's a better chance to see us go with one guy than there is we change the nights. I don't see a reason why we would change the nights. They seem to be okay with the situation, and why we picked Eno Friday and Andrew Saturday. There was no rhyme or reason to that, and that's been. I think that guys this age they're creatures of habit, and that's been consistent, and we want to stay consistent with that. So I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. I'm just saying I think it's more likely to not happen before we go with one guy, and I don't think we're close to that. So for now, we stick with what we have, and hopefully we can start to execute better for Andrew, and he can continue to play some strong hockey, and then obviously Eno continues to do what he's been doing the last couple of weeks.
How often have you and Rico been talking since you became the head coach here?
Probably a minimum of once a week. Rico's not someone that he needs to talk to you every day to kind of be close to, and he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and he will be for a long time. The one thing that I've kind of reached out to him on is thinking back 10 years ago or 9 years ago or 8 years ago, what we were going through at Miami. Was it similar? And he obviously is still living it, and he's kind of reminded me what we were going through that year versus this year versus that year, and we just talked through a few things, and that's been good. But I think it's been more of just from the friendship side. I think he's how do you enjoy being a head coach, and as the family transitioned okay to Bowling Green, that kind of stuff. So I expect him to be part of my life, obviously for a long time.
Any injuries out of the Northern series?
Nope.
Anything else regarding last weekend or this upcoming weekend, guys? Okay, well, with that, then if you have any questions for Coach about the four gentlemen, Wyatt Galley, Ryan Carpenter, Karn Kisera, and Mike Solomon, national letters and signees, go ahead and fire away.
What were you looking for in the class? What are you trying to?
More than anything, I was looking for winners, and that's not to say our current guys aren't that. I just feel like with the change of culture, with a focus on excellence on a daily basis, I think you've got to get a certain type of person. And we wanted to make sure with the three kids we had committed, with the fourth one being Cam Watala, who could have very easily went back to junior this year, which a lot of people were expecting him to do. That was the premium. Obviously, you have to be a certain level of hockey player, and all these guys are that. But they are winners. They're people that expect a lot of themselves. They've got great grades. They're all captains. They've all been captains before. The one young guy we didn't know was Wyatt Galley, but he seems, in talking to him on the phone, he seems like a nice guy, and he wants to be part of this thing moving forward. And we've continued to tell him that there's big shoes to fill with replacing Nick Eno, and so I don't see why that wouldn't work out. But that was the focus, and then the other, hockey-wise, we want to add some size. I don't think we're big enough. I'm a guy that I like big teams. The staff likes big teams. Not to say we don't value smaller players because we do. But the three kids in particular, and then even with Cam again, Cam 6'2" centerman, and then the rest of them right around 6'1", 6 foot minimum. We added some size for sure.
With Wyatt coming in, and obviously Andrew Hammond's still here, Scott Zacharias still here. I know it's a little bit ways off, but have you given any thought to the potential goaltending situation for next season?
Not a lot of thought. I look at the scholarship goaltenders, which is Wyatt is replacing a scholarship goaltender, and I look at Wyatt having huge shoes to fill. I also look at it being a difficult situation because I think Andrew Hammond could be one of the better goalies in our league moving forward. So it's going to play itself out. And I haven't written off Scott Zacharias by a long shot. He knew coming into the situation that this year was probably going to be somewhat of a eyes open, mouth shut type year, if you will, and be a practice goalie, so to speak, but ready to jump into the fold come next fall. So I think it could be a great competition. I don't know if the competition is for number one or number two. I think we're going to have a pretty solid number one, and we'll be looking to see who number two is. The expectation is that Wyatt Galley coming in as the scholarship goaltender is going to be ready for that role, and that's what he was recruited to do. But we'll see on a daily basis if that's in fact what he's able to do. Scott will have a year under his belt, but it'll be a year of practice. Wyatt's playing, it looks like 4 to 5 games, if not like 7 out of 10 for sure. So he's going to have that game experience under his belt of what Scott had last year and his last year at junior. So I really feel it'll play itself out. What kind of summer each kid has is going to have some play in that, and ultimately how they execute, how they compete on a daily basis come next fall, that'll be the telltale, and that'll make the decision for us.
Any one of these guys just said, hey, we really want this kid.
Say that again?
Any of these four were guys that anyone you say, hey, we really got to go out and do everything we can to get this kid?
Yeah, every one of them.
Okay.
Yeah. In the order, it would be Carpenter first. Carpenter was the one when I got the job in April, Rob Kroll, as our director of hockey operations, had coached Ryan. We had some experience with Ryan recruiting him at another school, and I know his junior coach very well from last year and this year. So he was somebody that we went after and pushed hard right away and came visited this summer. And then Sullivan and Kucera were guys we saw over the summer and got to know and did lots of digging on, and we're really, really happy with what we saw. And we think it's a great start. I don't think next year's recruiting class is done. I really feel there's more to do, but I really am happy with the start of with these four guys of what we have, and like I said, I think their intangibles and their attitude on a daily basis and their expectations of being great in everything they do, that's going to be as much of an impact in our locker room as any impact they'll make on the ice, which I think will be great. We need to continue to believe and expect great things on a daily basis, and these guys. It shouldn't be a matter of convincing them because that's what they already have internally. So,
What do you like about Kucera's game?
I like his physical presence. I think that he's a guy that's going to be physical for us. I think his first pass is good. I think there is offense in his game, but it's not one where we're expecting him to go outside of his comfort level. We want him to make good hard first passes. We want him to be good in the defensive zone in terms of coverage and taking away time and space, and we expect him to be a good penalty killer. If more comes of that in terms of numbers or offense or whatever, that's all gravy. But he's a pretty quiet leader. And he's a big physical presence, and we're expecting him to be that for us, and that's what he seems to have been so far in the USHL.
And then Sullivan.
Sullivan, I think he's a guy that could wear a couple different hats.